Disney. As children, we were enchanted, amused, saddened, and sometimes frightened by the films of Walt Disney Studios. For many of us, they were a consistent part of our childhood, and the cause of much joy, laughter, and magic.
I don't think this is such a good idea.
What happened?
Disney has had their highs and lows over the years. In the beginning, they were the trailblazers. They used to do things that no one else dreamt of doing. And while they still seem to utilize this in their parks, with their films, well, the magic was gone. They were only able to stay on top with Pixar's help. From 2000 to just recently, the quality of the films they released on their own has been hit and miss, to say the least. And even the good films didn't come close to what we used to see from them. For a while, it looked as if that magic that had enchanted us for so long now pretty much only existed in films they did with Pixar.
Well, that's where today's films come in. After many years of trying things that didn't really work, they decided to return to the old formula. That is to say, taking fairy tales, turning them into musicals, and tweaking them until they're unrecognizable so that they won't scar your kids for life. But after being away for so long, have they still got it? Let's find out.
Tangled and Princess and the Frog. The biggest thing these two films have in common are that they try to mimic the old Disney formula. Apart from that, the similarities are basically that of many Disney movies. They're based on fairy tales, there's a love story, magic, some quirky sidekicks, you know, all that good stuff that made Disney a household name. Tiana is the main character in Princess and the Frog. She works as a waitress in 2 different restaurants in the hopes of saving up enough money to pay for her own restaurant, a dream her father had but was unable to achieve before his death. It's clear that they were trying to update the Disney princess image with Tiana. She's proactive, she's hardworking, and she's certainly not looking for a man. And, well, sometimes it seems like they're maybe overcompensating, but I'll get to that in a sec. I really like Tiana, and yeah, part of that is because she is independent and hardworking. But honestly, I think that a lot of my enjoyment of this character comes about after she turns into a frog, because her personality seems more present in her amphibian state. And actually, it's the same thing with Prince Naveen, because I enjoy his character too. Maybe part of it's the accent. That's a weird accent for a Disney prince.
It's perfect! You finally got into the music. Do you get my joke? Because your head it's in the tuba.
I like it. For some reason, it's easier to relate to these characters when they're frogs, but then I guess we do spend more time with them as frogs, so in a way it kind of makes sense. After turning into frogs, both characters sort of realize in each other what they themselves lack. Tiana's father, like her, was a hard worker, but he knew that family was important. Tiana herself is so determined to get the restaurant her and her father wanted that she neglects personal relationships, while Naveen has spent pretty much his entire life having fun and fooling around, and because of this his parents cut him off from their money, and he now either needs to get married to a wealthy woman or get a job. These are good lessons, albeit a bit overdone, but here's the problem, and this goes back to that overcompensating thing I mentioned earlier. Because they set up Tiana as the strong, independent woman that she is, the fact that she doesn't need a man seems to almost backfire when, at the end of the film, yeah. Because this is Disney, the whole thing comes across as a little hypocritical. I don't get the message family and love is more important from this movie. Instead, I almost feel as if it's the same old in order to be happy you have to get married story. I know that's not the intention, and don't get me wrong, I have nothing against love. It just seems like Disney may have unintentionally set a trap for themselves with this one. That being said, this is a far cry away from the love at first sight stories of past Disney classics. I realize I just got done saying that romance between anthropomorphic animals rarely interests me in my last review, but yeah, this is another example of a film that pulls it off.
Tiana, I love the way you light up when you talk about your dream. A dream that it is so beautiful. I promise. I will do whatever it takes to make it come true.
That is freaking adorable. He's trying to propose, but he wants to get her restaurant, and oh, poor guy.
Sorry, I just got done watching 2 princess films. Kind of having an overload of girlishness right now. I'll try to repress it.
You could not be more different, you know. You are practically one of the guys. No. You are not the guy. Let me begin again.
Let's go to the other characters.
Starting with Lottie. Every fiber in my being tells me that I should be annoyed with this character, but I'm not. She's just so damn funny and so damn likable. I don't know what it is. Possibly the fact that her personality is played up so much that it's ludicrous. Or maybe it's because she actually is a pretty nice person. Spoiled and disillusioned, yes, but still a good friend. Sidekicks in this movie include Lewis, an alligator who wants to be a jazz musician. He cracks me up.
Lewis give anything to be up there jamming with the big boys.
Why don't you?
Oh, I tried once. It didn't end well.
And the lightning bug, Ray. Again, this feels like a character I should dislike, but don't.
You know, I like all the characters in this movie.
The last being the villain Fassler, or the Shadow Man. He was probably my favorite part of the film the first time I saw it. Since then, I've come to appreciate a lot of the other elements, but yeah, this character is awesome. He's so creepy, and he's got that badass shadow and the demons and...
He was very charismatic.
yeah, that. Granted, his motivation is pretty much the same as it is with most animated villains. He just wants money and power. But he's really fucking cool. He's trying to get it. Plus that death. Dear God, that death. Wow.
Just a little more time! I promise I'll pay your back! I promise!
Rapunzel is the main character in Tangled. She's a little closer to the traditional Disney princess, but better. Mainly because she actually fights for what she wants, which is basically to leave her tower so that she can see the lights that are released in the sky every year on her birthday.
I found her really likable too.
She's kind of like a puppy, excitable, a bit clumsy, and impossible to dislike. Plus she's a lot more silly and goofy than the regal, perfect, classic princess. Kind of like a mix between Mulan and Ariel, if you can wrap your head around that one, with all of their strengths and none of their weaknesses. Although her appearance can get a bit distracting sometimes. She looks like a doll, and those giant eyes. Man, the old 2D princess look is creepy in CG.
She makes a cute brunette.
Flynn Rider, or rather Eugene Fitzherbert, is the love interest. Like Naveen, he starts out really arrogant and after money, and of course after meeting and getting to know the heroine, this changes. Although, I admit I like Naveen a little better. Maybe it's just because the rugged, handsome thief who changes his ways is a bit overdone. Flynn is still likable, though. It's probably because, again, he's a flawed character. These kind of characters tend to vomit up one-liners and always get the jump on those around them.
You should see your faces because you look...
Doesn't seem to work for him, and this somehow makes him more refreshing than other examples of this archetype. As for their relationship, it's also handled pretty well. Now, I'd be lying if I said I was as invested in theirs as I was with Naveen and Tiana, but they do a good job of setting it up, and it does feel a lot more genuine than in past Disney films. This film also has the comic relief side characters. I don't really get the presence of the chameleon apart from the fact that Disney tends to go a bit sidekick crazy in their movies. He's okay though. He's sometimes funny and he doesn't get in the way or anything. I don't find him annoying like I have in the past with other Disney sidekicks where their presence sort of knocks the whole tone of the movie off kilter whenever they're there. Maximus is awesome. I love this freaking horse. Nearly every scene with him is hilarious. That leaves Mother Gothel, and I like this villain too. Whereas Fossler is definitely a better Disney villain, Gothel is a more interesting character study, because she doesn't feel quite so much like the typical Disney baddie. She's not after power, not even power over Rapunzel herself, she just doesn't want to die. She's not exactly sympathetic, but she's a lot less pure evil than most Disney villains, and because of this, she's kind of fascinating.